So then,
that's funny.
Loudy Takes Off. What did that change kind of your outlook or the dynamic of what you were doing?
I was a little. I would say it was reassuring to some degree.
Oh yeah, it was very much reassuring, and I think once we had some confidence under what we were doing, we were able to expand it more because we knew that there was like something more than just our heads being in it.
Sure.
That it was kind of connecting at some level, and I think sometimes that's exactly what you need. Sometimes it's what you don't need, right? Sometimes you get overconfident, and I think that you lose a lot of the drive to make good work. But I think that in our case, we were so in the dark that having that was able to take us to a place where we could really expand upon it.
How many songs did you have finished at that point? Was the
Lots.
album already shaped?
No, not the full album.
Not
but
the full album. We just
had,
had
like-
we had a ton of songs.
Yeah, and the ones that were probably finished songs, we probably had like 7.
Okay.
Like really like that could have been released at the same time.
Also, a small anecdote that I think gives you an idea of what the process was like for getting to that point was that we essentially recorded an entire album worth of material like the first year that we moved to New York, and we're just like, okay, this is not quite right, and just threw it away.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah.
Nothing
I mean, it's on
survived.
some hard drive somewhere, but like,
Have you listened to it recently?
Yeah,
I've
we
listened to
It's
some of
not
the old
bad.
stuff. Some of it's kind of cool.
But it wouldn't have
It just
changed
wouldn't
our
have
lives.
Yeah.
If you compare that then with what the album is now, where are the differences? What was lacking in the first track?
Character, and-
unique
and-
identity.
Yeah,
It just sounded like a band.
Okay.
yeah,
Not a bad band.
but a band.
Just like,
Okay.
like you wouldn't turn it off if it came on, but you also wouldn't be like
Ask who it was.
asking who it was.
Sure.
You probably would think it was somebody else. You'd probably be like, oh, sounds like Cold War Kids.
Yeah. Is this?
And so then, well, you say you had about 7 songs. When did the album sort of round off? What were you still looking for in certain tracks? What were some of the later ones?
What were some of the what?
Later tracks that you?
Oh, like the stuff that became the album. Well, I think from there, at that point, we it was sort of like 2 things. It was like, one, we wanted to like expand the sound, like take it in as many different places as possible, and then we also really wanted to just like create a world with the album that felt like very cohesive and felt like very much all one project. So one thing we did was take a trip down to Colombia.
Okay.
We went to Bogota, where we have a friend who's also a visual artist down there. And then we went to Cartagena, and we did a lot of recording there towards the end. And I think that really, inspired, again, like sort of like the Latin side of the album. So it's really like, I think that's an example of us like, realizing that we wanted that influence and actively seeking it out.
Yeah, was it important to be in such a location where that background kind of was pushed to the forefront?
I think
Totally.
very much so. I think a lot of our influence stems from our like very immediate surroundings. We sort of look for a lot of places outside of music for inspiration, and setting is definitely one of them.
Okay. And then, well, am I right in saying? Now I can't remember which one, but let's talk about the album Puerto Cabezas.
Cabezas,
Cabezas, sorry. Was it important to have that track then with keeping in mind what you just said? Was it important to have a track like that on the album to?
Yeah, very much so. I think it's one of my favorite tracks on the album. Really just because of the way that it sort of like plays out and kind of like undulates, and I really like that part about it. But yeah, I mean, I think so. That's obviously a song that's, very specifically about a place, and a place that's like very close to me and my family, and it very much shaped the project too.
And well, I read something on your Facebook. I don't know who wrote it. Maybe it was a day ago or 2 days ago, but you were talking about kind of what happened on Tuesday or
Yeah, the election.
And well, you said that touring helped understanding, or traveling helped understanding. So can you elaborate a little bit more on this?
Yeah, I think that something that we talk a lot about, the worldly influence in the project, but I think you see it domestically as well when you travel around the country. It's just this idea of, living in New York. It's like a very insular community, and it's very easy to look at the other artists in that community and sort of compare yourself to them or base what you're doing on the general idea of what they're doing. And you get very consumed with what is cool in New York, you know? And you don't need to travel very far outside the city to a different country to see that like very few people have the opportunity to do that, to care, to even be close enough to a community as dense and rich as New York's.
Sure.
And that there's so many other things that are so much more important to everyone around the world than these like small little scenes that get defined. And I think that for us, that was really integral in making music that spoke to more people, that was more true to ourselves, and that also, you know, respected what we want to do with our music, which is, you know, to give back and to put a little bit of each of ourselves very firmly into the music to a point where it can translate for other people in any place.
When was this mentality always there, or did that happen kind of when you went to New York?
I think it was always there, and I think that experience opened it up to becoming a bigger part of the project.
So finally then, where do the lyrics fit in with what you just said? Are lyrics important to you?
Of course.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Arguably the most important part of the project. I mean, like one of the cornerstones of what we do is certainly the songwriting, which is lyrics and melody.
Yeah.
So, if you can take one track and then I'll let you choose, which one was for you perhaps the most important to talk about?
To talk about.
There's something on one of the tracks that you wanted
Probably
to talk
Puerto
about.
Cabezas, but also maybe Live That Long?
Tap water.
Maybe Islands.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, why why Islands?
To me, Islands is sort of like the thesis statement of the album.
Okay.
It was the first song we wrote together.
Yeah.
And there's a really crazy story about how it kind of like came together, but I think that to me it really embodies the idea that you know, this nature of duality and self-doubt and self-empowerment and.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the other part about it is that I think it's ultimately hopeful, you know? Like, I think, you know, you're saying I'm left and right and in between, and it's sort of like this conflict of yourself. You're like fighting different sides of yourself. But then ultimately in the chorus, you know, I don't believe in misery. It's like very easy, I think, when you're having internal conflict to kind of like succumb to the, I don't know, to the like, I don't know, I don't want to use the word depression, but just like, it's easy to just like wallow in the negativity.
Sure.
And I think that to say like, I don't believe in misery is sort of saying like, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna embrace both of these sides of myself, and it's gonna be okay.
And is lyric writing a collective thing? Is it something you do together?
No, it's primarily Derek.
Lyrics, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you discuss these themes then?
Yeah,
I think a lot. Yeah, I think that's what's also honestly been interesting for me as the person not writing the lyrics,
Sure.
is to see how much the experiences that we share collectively and the conversations that we have influence. Like I see things in the lyrics and hear things in the lyrics that I'm like, yeah, that's totally something that I can relate to because it's intertwined with our experience together.
Finally then, I said I was going to ask the last question earlier, but very last question. Is there one thing you've learned about Danny that's through his lyrics that you didn't know about it?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
Probably is. I don't know if it can be talked about on camera.
Yeah, not off the top.
I like Pop-Tarts without the frosting. I like.
That's not a song lyric though.
It's not. Well, could be.
Not yet. That's album
Next
2.
album.
No frosting on my Pop-Tart.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you.